Hello to another the internet. Is his name the? No, it's just internet historian. The cast of Concordia. Yeah, it's been many months, maybe a year since I checked him out. Maybe two. Who cares? If it's 1 or 2 years, it doesn't matter. This is one that I've heard about, like the actual thing that happened, the Concordia. And weird enough, I read it from, was it Equestria Girls? Yeah, I think Equestria Girls had like a special where the one where, is their name Sunset Shimmer? I think so, went into Back to the Pony world, I think. I don't remember. That was probably like 10 years ago. So, and in that episode, a ship crashed into a rock, and when I watched it, I was like, wait a minute, that rock should have been smashed to pieces. It shouldn't really have hurt the ship. Then someone told me that, actually, this is based off this incident, and that actually happened. And then when I looked into that Wikipedia of that incident, I was like, okay, I can see that episode or special was based off this incident, but well, the real life thing was underwater rocks, while in the show it was an above water rock that was very flimsy. Obviously, the show one would have been destroyed, but yeah, those underwater rocks, understandable that they completely tore up the ship. So that is one thing I know. And then it happened at the east, I think the east coast of Italy, I think. It is Italy, but I don't remember if it was east or west. So let's see if the internet historian tells us. Or just
Concordia,
internet historian. I don't know why I keep saying the internet historian.
It's been 8 years. I can still smell the buffets from their 5 restaurants.
I think this happened in
The casino and 3-story theatre
2010.
had hardly been used.
I never heard about
Bars,
this
gym, the day spa,
until that
the
comment
sheets in
told me about
1500
it.
luxurious cabins.
Or at least the crash.
hadn't even been slept in. Costa Concordia cost $570 million to build.
Oh.
And you could tell. You
You could really tell. I mean, it was a luxury cruiser, so it makes sense.
I remember it like it was just a few years ago. We had left Civitavecchia, a port in Rome, and we were making our way to Savannah.
Oh no, it was
day
the
2
west
of our
coast
7-day journey. But that
of
ship,
Italy.
aye, she was cursed.
Oh my
When it
god.
premiered, the traditional bottle of champagne bounced right off the side instead of smashing. How bad only?
Those
But I'm not
thick
superstitious.
bottles, huh?
Nothing could go wrong on Friday the 13th of January, 2012.
Oh, yeah, no,
on
it
the
was
100th
2000
year
Friday
anniversary of
13.
The Titanic, on a ship that's also only safety rated for 2-compartment flooding, especially not when you have
Alright.
a 5-star max level captain like Francisco Scatino. A man
Scatini,
who
alright.
mysteriously rose from head of security to the position of captain within just a couple of years.
Is that
He knows
weird?
exactly what to do in
Alright,
case
let's
of an
put
emergency.
on
For
subtitles.
example, when he caused this emergency in 2008.
Okay, I'm gonna pause right here. He said that it was weird that he went from head of security. Wait, let's see. No, that's the big. How do you do like the small jumps? Like it was weird that he transitioned from head of security. I don't think so. Isn't this something that's pretty common? Because I'm trying to think, kind of like if you have the ability to be a captain of one of those big ships, I'm sure there are more people who are qualified to be captains than there are actual jobs for those big ships. So to me, that doesn't really seem that weird to go from a security guard to a captain. Because I'm sure that the security guards of the ships need to have, marine experience. And yeah, I mean, I do know that sometimes happens here in Sweden. I think No, but I mean, he wasn't in security, but he was a chef. Like I know someone who could, like he is. Well, I haven't talked to him in years, but I don't think he's a captain. But he works as a chef for those chefs because, well, where's the jobs, right? So I'm sure it's the same here.
From head of security to the position of captain within just a couple of years. He knows exactly
Especially
what
if
to
it
do
is
in
just
case
a
of an
couple of
emergency.
years.
For example,
He probably
was this
already
emergency
had
in 2008 when he crashed into a port in
experience.
Sicily, and in 2010 in Venom, Germany, when he was steering a different ship and came into port too far.
Okay, I was gonna be like, well, Jesus Christ, but I said it was
I've got
from a
good
movie.
feeling. So let's set the scene.
Okay, so he's crashed twice
It's a beautiful
before.
evening. People are
And
having
it seems
coffee
like
in
he
the
crashes
salons,
every
drinks
2
at the bar.
years.
Antonio
So-
Magnotta is playing piano at the restaurant. Martin the magician is setting up for his show. And the ship
So that sounds
is
like
setting
kinda
up
like,
for a little
alright.
detour. It's called a
The
sail
first
by
time,
salute.
okay, maybe it was just a
Basically,
mistake.
real
The
close to
second
shore and
time,
honk the horn. The locals hate it, but the customers love it, and it's a tradition. Scatino, the captain, comes into the dining hall with a lady, Dominica Samorton. Remember this face, because you'll be seeing a lot of it
Alright,
later.
I'll put it
Scatino
in my
eats his dinner
mind.
with her and socializes for a little while. Then he, Dominica, and the maitre d' finish up and excuse themselves. They're heading to the bridge. It's time for that sail by salute. This time, they're going to get closer.
like, let's
than ever.
annoy these
Just
people.
1,500 feet from the island of Giglio. And how are they going to determine this distance? Well, of course, the captain is going to eyeball it.
That's good.
Apparently, it's not
Like,
to do. Scatino
okay,
turns to the
apparently it's not
helmsman,
uncommon.
his helmsman.
That's been, yeah, that sounds good. Ruslibin.
First interesting tidbit. Costa Crociere has hired Jacob from Indonesia at a rock bottom price, and he's not a
Okay.
newbie to the job. In fact, his profession hitherto, a painter and a cleaner. It's his first time steering a massive ship, and he's very excited. At least,
Maybe we
it's
shouldn't do
hard to
the-
tell
the
because he doesn't
salute
speak English
thing.
or Italian very well at all.
Especially if he
Start.
can't speak the
second
languages.
command orders the helmsman to 290. Now, don't be confused by these numbers, they're just the degrees on a compass.
Yeah.
At the same time, the captain whips out his cell phone and calls former captain Mario Palombo, who lives on the island.
Mario Palombo.
They chat about the safe distance to Giglio's shores. It's all very casual. Anyway, Mario says that the safe distance is between 0.3 and 0.4 miles from shore. The captain
Okay.
is going all in. This is
Oh,
not his
no,
first
is
sail
that
by
why
salute,
they
so he's
crashed?
confident in what he's doing.
He's like, I don't
We're
care about the
closer
safe
than
distance.
we've ever been
Gonna go risky.
The captain's eyeballing it again.
And having an inexperienced
You have 300,
helmsman.
he tells the helmsman. Downstairs, Martin is about to cut
Who
his
knows?
assistant in half. And of course, that means that there's already a lady inside this box. She's
Oh
waiting
my
for
god,
him, and the
is
ship
that
goes
true?
right
Is that
down.
how that works?
The captain is
I
giving
thought
more
it just
orders.
cut
Pulling gently to
those
310.
women in half.
Increase speed to 16 knots. Going this fast is going to be a fatal error. But before we talk about that, let's talk about another
How
big
fast is a
language
knot?
barrier. Because at this point, the captain says
Like,
325,
because that's like a
but the
nautical
helmsman relays
mile?
315. So the first
Right?
officer
Is that what that
and he goes,
stands for?
No, 335, which is also wrong. And then the captain clarifies, no, 325.
Like,
The helmsman
does no
confirms
one knows
325.
Italian
Their poor
here?
communication has them moving at a much wider angle than they think they are.
Oh.
However, the captain should and would know this, except for the next problem. Complacency about procedure.
Oh, they're
The
not
standard procedure on a ship this large
repeating
is
the
for third
orders.
officer to give exact positional coordinates every time the captain gives a new directional order. But they're
Oh,
not
yeah,
doing
they're not doing that because
330, he says.
I mean, this is how these mistakes happen to begin with, right?
The captain then
You get
turns to
too
the second officer and
comfortable.
instructs him to go to the left wing. That's these things here, and they basically exist so you can get a better view over the whole vessel.
Yeah, instead of having mirrors like in
And
cars.
then, the mood starts to turn. Scatino notices white foam of waves breaking against the rocks directly in front of him in the
Yeah,
distance.
it means
the Costa Concordia right now
those waves
is
are hitting
almost
something
700 meters
before
closer to
hitting
the, rocks
the
than it should
shore.
be. Without deviation, there is going to be a direct collision.
And also, wasn't it like, I think
Immediately
this
commands
right
the ship to
here,
start turning away. 335. The captain shouts.
I think there have been done like simulations
Captain
of
yells,
this
350.
where
Now,
it
maybe I should
actually
accelerating to 16 knots was a
worked.
fatal error. Well, that's because it's
I
made
think
this ship
I know
incapable
that.
of such a drastic turn. What they've got is understeer. Here's an example.
The front end is not working. You're turning,
Yeah,
turning,
I
turning, and
mean,
you're just going straight. You want to go over here, but you're
It's
gonna
like
end up
if
over
you
here.
have a lot of weight like that,
350.
it's
Right
like
now, the dial is
a
still only pointing
train.
at 327.
You stop the train
Not
way
nearly enough to
before,
miss the rock. And oh no, it's about to get worse.
you know, you
That
actually,
language barrier again.
well,
In these
way
critical moments,
before,
every
but it's
second
not
counts.
before you
The
reach the
helmsman wrongly
station.
relays
that you
340.
stop at the
Captain
station.
shouts back, 350 starboard, or we end up on the rocks. The third officer goes to assist the helmsman. Now, don't get confused by the orders from here. We're changing over to rudder instructions. The captain yells, starboard 10, starboard 20, and still it's not enough. Hard to starboard. That means as hard as it'll go. But at this point, even if they clear these rocks, they need to get the rest of the ship to swing around it. So the captain yells, midship, which centers the rudder. The bow is now less than 150 meters from Skull Rock. Port 10.
Maybe he's kind of like, it would have been better to just smash in
Port 20.
to like
avoid disaster here, maybe.
straight on
But then, oh no.
into
The helmsman cocks up at the worst possible
the shoreline,
moment. The
or
helmsman
maybe even the
goes
rock.
to starboard.
That's the nose hit.
Undoing the swing. 8 seconds later, he realizes the error and corrects, but it's too late. He has just turned a probable near miss into a sure hit. All they can do now is hold on as the bow of the ship narrowly passes by the rocks. Hard to port.
So maybe if
The
he
second
didn't make
officer
the
yells,
last
"We're
mistake,
gonna hit."
they would have crashed.
Collision.
Kaboom. I would say I really like the editing and all that. It really feels like... Oh, so it feels like a movie, but kind of getting engrossed in it. Because if it was just pictures or just stock footage, well, it has a lot of stock footage, but he has his animations and stuff in there.
56 of playing Russian.
I think it would have been like way...
Never win.
Gonna drink all by yourself?
Oh, okay.
Somebody has to.
It's like a
I hear you're a
documentary.
man who's good at
Even though, I
finding
mean, I do
folks.
like a lot of
I'm many
documentaries,
things.
but
I'm looking for this fella. I got to find him. It's breaking my
like a
little heart.
I'll see
YouTube,
what I can do. I have
not
contacts with
documentary, what
thousands
I'm
of
thinking
servers in
of,
dozens of countries
essay.
across the globe.
There you go.
And just like that, she was gone. The only thing she left was a calling card.
Which to me is like, I'm not
Sometimes
that
when you
into
follow
them.
case,
But
it
to be
follows you
fair, I
back.
haven't watched a lot.
NordVPN can protect my online data.
So
And who can protect me from myself? When they said this job gets easier,
I tried
it's just
watching
another
one,
lie.
like
For
my
instance,
mom
Val's
and I,
password spread all the way down the block. In a perfect
for
world,
some time we were
use
like, let's
NordVPN. But I guess
try
this
and
isn't
watch
that
like
kind of
one
story.
YouTube
Took the brakes off
documentary
my
a
car.
month together.
Man like me
Something to
never
watch
really learned
together,
how to stop.
just and maybe learn
I took the steering
something
wheel out
new.
too. I let the road take me where I'm
And
supposed to.
when I asked people like what we
That's
should
right,
watch,
Your husband.
someone recommended someone
Merry Christmas. Go to
Samuel, Gino
NordVPN.com/internet
Samuel or
for
something,
a huge discount.
and they said like don't think about that. There's like 400 documentaries or parts about this one person. Just watch the first one. We did. Oh, kind of like
A
not for
53-meter
us.
gash opens up in the hull, and thousands of tons of water begin pouring in.
Hmm.
A loud scraping and bang is heard by all passengers. At the helm is Peahc. Rumblings in the dining room. Martin awkwardly pauses his act as he's helping his assistant into the box. Meanwhile, the
Oh God.
Let me
is
out,
trapped
let me
and
out.
terrified. There's confusion across the ship. All of the crew off shift come back on duty.
Wait.
All officers run to the bridge.
Isn't she
Run
able
down
to just
below
get
decks
out
to assess damage.
easy?
On connection with the rocks, they lose propulsion and slow to 8.3.
Because you wouldn't think that
and
it
they
would be
unmount
like
adrift.
locked or
Close the
something.
watertight doors at stern. Enormous volumes of water are pouring in. So much so that within 29 seconds of collision, all 6 engines stop working.
Oh my God! In just 30
22
seconds.
seconds later, a blackout happens. Lights, electrics, the water pumps too.
We're like, all right,
The captain
time
orders
to
the helm
panic.
hard starboard.
We
This is
just
the final position
felt
out of
a
the power of the
huge
back two is
like
lost.
disturbance.
Across the Concordia,
And now all the lights are
is
gone.
drifting starboard, plunged
Time to
into
panic.
absolute darkness. A quick breakdown of the flooding. When the Concordia struck land, it tore open 3 watertight compartments. At first, compartment 5, which
I mean,
filled
did
very
this
rapidly,
ship
then sinks
sink?
more slowly, 4 shortly after.
I don't know if it
Then
actually
783.
sunk.
Modern ships are built to withstand 2
I think it was
These
just
compartments
stuck on the
especially, though, are a
rocks,
problem,
at
because they
least.
contain the engines and
So I
the
wonder if
electrics.
anyone died
These main
during
generators
this.
give power to the whole ship. From propulsion motors to rudder to hotel functions, pretty much everything. When they went out, the ship was a
Because I will be honest, right now,
A few seconds
there
later, the
isn't really
emergency
anything
batteries
for
on
me
the
that I'm like,
turbo
oh
button
man, that sounds like absolutely horrific.
Martin has vanished.
It just
This
feels
is
okay.
and
She
it
was
caused a
easy
huge
out.
panic in the theater,
Oh,
as passengers
it just
trying to flee
vanished.
to their cabins and to muster stations.
It's kinda
People
like,
in their
oh,
cabins
they
come out and start putting on
didn't pay
life vests.
attention,
Staff
they
rally around to
crashed.
calm everyone down. Everything is fine. There's no
Okay.
need for vests. Please return to your cabins. The emergency generator
Doesn't
starts.
sound like anything like super
The
insane.
watertight doors close, except for door 12, which is
Apparently,
jammed. The captain calls Peahc, the chief
this is a
engineer, as
very
the ship
like
begins to list on
popular
the port side.
crash.
There's water
So I
coming
wonder
in.
why.
Yes, there's water. But where? The engine room. But a lot of water?
Because I don't think
Yes! There's water, you can't go
either
down.
no one
Let's go down
died
the other
or
side.
not a lot of
Anyway,
people
we'll start
died.
the pumps, I'll let you know.
I don't think.
In the theater, the whole magic box.
Even though, I mean,
slides
he
right off
made
the
a
stage
reference
and
to the
falls the
Titanic
crowd, further
earlier,
increasing
but
panic. On
I
the
don't
bridge,
think it
an announcement
was
is being prepared.
a Titanic
They are going to
level
lie
crash.
To prevent a panic. Let's just say we have a blackout.
Live is just lie.
The deputy
I
chief
mean,
engineer
often isn't it
enters
kind of
the
like
control room. He
when
confirms
stuff
to
like
the
this
brief that
happens,
at
you
least
don't want to
compartments
follow
5, 6, and 7
protocol
are
actually, like
And
if you're like a passenger and all that. Because I don't think those protocols actually make you survive. It's just to keep panic down, not actually
Coincidentally, at the same time in the restaurant, they're playing My Heart Will Go On. And it's
make
very much
you
reflecting
as a
the situation.
passenger survive. If you die, they don't care.
Roberto Ferrarini
So you should
tells the
always
crisis unit that they've
prioritize,
hit a rock, that they're assessing
you know,
damages and that
your
they are
escape.
also in a blackout. The crisis office says to reverse the ship up onto
I
shore.
think there was something like that in a
You don't have power to the
oil
rudder, let
tanker
alone
that
the engine.
happened,
You hoist the sails.
where the people who
Anyway,
didn't follow
around this time,
protocol are the
wind
ones who
direction creates a
survived, and the
starboard
ones who
lift,
follow
and the ship
protocol that
begins to
burned,
turn
they
anyway,
like
drifting
burned to
right back
death.
towards the shore, which is a very good thing because you want the ship to end up as close to shore as possible. A panicked passenger senses that something is off.
Or
This isn't
some
like
of the
an
people who
electrical
didn't
problem.
follow
She's
protocol
Plus,
survived. I
there's
think a
massive
lot of
crashing
them
noise,
drowned,
and now the
but
ship is tilting. So
at
she contacts
least
her daughter in Italy. The daughter
you had a
then
higher
calls the
chance of
police,
surviving
and
if
the
you didn't
police
follow,
call the
because
harbour
everyone who
master.
did died.
While that goes on, a conversation between Pelon and Ambrosio.
The diesel is not starting.
The captain asks the engine room, but where have we made contact? Thinking that the incoming water can be reduced.
Captain,
It's like,
everything is lost.
I mean, we don't have enough super glue
They're saying at this
to
the
face
ship
this
is
crap,
going
Captain.
down. The captain calls Roberto Ferrarini again. Actually, 2 compartments have been flooded, but don't worry, the ship's stability isn't in
It's
danger.
3.
Wrong. Passengers begin going to muster stations on their own initiative. The cruise director says,
So he
"We
was
have
wrong
people
about
at
the
muster
stability
stations,
and
but
the
I
other
do
one
not fall
thing
overboard.
as well."
Do we make an announcement to tell them to go to the lounges?" Bozio says, "I think that's best." The
No,
harbour master from
I don't
London
think that's
calls the
best.
ship. The captain tells them that we just
This is
have
why
a
you
blackout.
shouldn't follow what they say. Go back to your
About
lounges.
20 minutes.
You're right. Nope.
Have you asked
Fuck
passengers
that, I'm
to
going
arrive
to the
yet?
escape
It's just a
ships.
blackout. I gotta go. The harbour master is suspicious. He says to his superiors that he thinks something more.
Why
is
do I
going
know
on.
this guy?
He calls a patrol boat to the area and asks them to
Concordia
look
de
at the ship.
Falco.
Another problem.
I know that
The emergency
guy.
diesel generator isn't
Is
working
he?
properly.
Isn't he
Elon
like a
manually has to turn
politician?
the thing on and off with a screwdriver so that it doesn't overheat and cause a fire.
Maybe this is how
The
he
captain's on
became
the
a
phone to the lower decks,
politician.
asking pointless questions like, "Is it still flooded?" Yes, yes it is. The captain is essentially in denial of the situation. The harbour master calls again. Finally, he says,
The ship is taking on water through an opening on the left side, and the ship is listing.
he qualifies with,
No one dead or injured.
the harbour master asks if he needs help.
'Cause I think. Okay, if we go back to him.
Rescue.
Okay, now I'm a little bit more interested
Captain
because
finally realizes that things
there's
are
someone I
really bad and are not
recognize.
going to improve.
Or at least I think I recognize if that guy is.
Meanwhile,
a
with the
politician.
passengers, the cruise director's assistant says, everything's under control. Please return to your cabins or hang about in the lounge. No problem.
Nope.
She said this
Fuck
despite knowing it
this.
was wrong and that it further endangered lives. Most passengers
Because
at this point aren't
the
listening
whole
to this
point of
conversation,
these
and they're
things
busy
are not to
figuring out
save
how to get the
lives,
ship.
is to
Bang,
keep
bang, bang,
panic
bang.
down.
Local television has already picked up the story and they begin broadcasting live radio feed from the bridge. Captain, the passengers are going on board the boats. Okay, let them go to shore.
Yeah.
So then general emergency? Wait, nah.
Yes.
Talk to Ferrarini. We risk
Is he
the emergency
panicking too
generators that
much?
do not have cooling.
Or is he
It has
thinking
cooling
about, oh,
at 100
shit,
degrees. The cooling
this is my
fan has
third
stopped.
strike.
Elon calls the bridge and tells the safety officer they need to evacuate. The safety officer relays this to the captain, but after no response, he orders the engine room to evacuate on his own.
Alright,
The
good.
captain says, "No, stay. We're leaving." So what do we do?
I'm with
General
that guy.
emergency?
Fuck this. Let's get out of here.
The captain tells Ferrarini that he's abandoning ship. Abandoned ship. Another announcement is made.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. The situation is under control. Please remain calm. But at this time...
Oh, and I mean, I see up in the top right corner, I'm covering right
The
now.
Livorno Coast Guard calls
But there is a
the captain declares
timeline,
distress.
and
The
I haven't
Coast
been
Guard
following that
calls
at
for
all,
operations.
so.
They contact Pietro Millet, the helicopter base commander, who then calls in every available pilot as he rushes down to the house.
It does seem like all of this is happening pretty close to one
First rescue
another.
vessel arrives. By this point, the lifeboats are already going. Luckily, the ship is very close to shore. Oh, perhaps too close to shore. The ship forcefully runs aground, creating an uneven center of gravity. And it begins heavily listing starboard. The captain issues a general emergency.
Alright, so maybe it was more intense than I thought. If it actually
comes panic. Now that
tilts.
they're listing, with many of the lifeboats
Oh,
too
God.
awkwardly
Oh,
positioned in the
Jesus
river,
Christ.
there aren't enough readily available, and they have to start going back and forth to the shore, picking people up and dropping them off. The patrol boats report to the Livorno harbour master that the ship has run aground and is listing heavily. So the harbour master asks the captain about it, and the captain
Oh, God, I'm getting
the
like.
ship is still floating. In fact, we're
I'll
trying
be
to
like,
maneuver it onto the shore.
just kill
They know
me.
he's lying.
Hold on, I'm reversing it. Beep, 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 beep.
The captain then says to bottom out the starboard anchor. So they drop out the anchors, but let out too much chain, effectively rendering them
I
useless.
mean, if it is, I wonder how the waves are and how strong it is.
Giovanni Rossi arrive at the harbour.
If
They watch
the
scene unfold.
ship
As the first of the lifeboats arrive on
stabilizes,
shore, the deputy mayor takes the
would you
initiative
be
and
able
races
to
toward
swim
one of the
to
lifeboats,
shore?
returning to the ship, and starts
Like, if
trying
you
to find
could- if
someone
you
in
could,
charge.
like-
He gives up and starts helping passengers.
Oh, alright.
Scatino tells everyone to leave and take radios. but not before changing out of the
Just,
uniform
he wasn't
into a
even
nice
the
suit.
mayor.
Priorities.
Well, maybe that's why he
Sylvia
actually went
and
on the
Sylvia
ship.
Veronica leave with him.
Because he was the
There may be some
assistant
more
mayor,
people
right?
out there.
Okay,
By this
so
point,
that guy...
approximately 300 people are still on the ship. Melee reaches the
That's pretty
helicopter
cool.
base. The first helicopter, a slow-moving Augusta
And
Bell, was
he
already rising
traveled
from
there with
an hour
a
long flight
Ferrari.
south.
Or a
Jose is the
Lamborghini, or
last
whatever.
crew left
A
on the bridge,
supercar.
coordinating the evacuation. He then leaves to help passengers board lifeboats. The bridge is now
Alright.
abandoned. And then, the ship's black box stops working. Apparently there were technical problems with it. That means, from here, things are going to get a little foggy in detail. A while later, rescue helicopters arrive, but they're struggling to find the ship because they're expecting it to still be well above water.
Technical problems,
Passengers
I'm
are staying on
sure.
the port side by ladder as lifeboats return to pick them up.
Okay, so there were probably things in those... in that black box that, well, the public shouldn't know. Oh, hello.
You're not allowed to make a film movie. Who
A second helicopter.
I'm the one saying that I'm allowed, alright?
The ship
Fuck
stops
off.
healing and comes to a final resting place. Now the Coast Guard calls the captain because he's just learned that the captain has abandoned ship. The captain claims,
no, actually, I slipped and I fell into one of the lifeboats. I'm close. But now that I'm
Oh,
alive,
well.
I may as well head back to shore.
DeFalco tells the captain to get the fuck back on board. And the captain kind of acts confused.
He's like,
and
no
effectively
thanks,
refuses.
I'm not doing
so the
that.
captain makes it to shore. From here, we only
I
have
mean,
mainstream news reports to rely
Like,
on.
why would I go back now?
But they say that
I don't believe in the
Japanese
fucking
ships can fight
bullshit.
110
Captain goes
survivors
down
on
with the
rocks
ship.
at Point
No,
Getty
fuck
Harbor.
that.
And among them is the captain.
I mean, he probably
It's not
should have
known whether the
helped
captain
people
anyone while he was there.
the least
And
he can
in fact, the
do.
police chief claimed that he just sat on the rocks and watched other
instead
people
of,
rescue.
you know, trying to hide that he's the
A while
captain
later, a rescue
by
boat picks
switching
up the captain and
outfits.
takes him to the harbour. He speaks to the police. He then finds the ship's onboard chaplain, Father Rafael Molina, and cries to him for about 15 minutes. Then he
Oh,
goes to
I'm
the
so
harbour master's office
religious.
to receive
Please
probably
forgive me,
the
God.
biggest dressing down of his entire life. Port authorities ask the taxi driver
Are you
to take
seeing?
the captain back to
God
his hotel.
forgives me,
Captain
so
takes the
everything's
32nd
fine.
cab drive to the Bahamas hotel. According to the cabbie, he was beaten like a dog. He was cold and afraid. He only asked me where he could buy a pair of fresh socks. But
Oh,
then
you
he
know
broke
what?
right up
I
again
want
and
some
gave
dry
them to a
feet.
news crew. He told them that he was the last to leave.
The captain is usually the last.
Oh,
to leave
well,
the
there's
ship.
still people
What
on
happens,
board.
Captain? We were the last to leave the ship.
All day Saturday,
They're
rescuers
like,
searched for people.
just be quiet.
On
If you're gonna
Sunday
say
morning, South
anything,
Korean
just be
couples found them in the
quiet.
cabin, safe but shivering. They had slept through the crash and woke up unable to exit
Or
their
just
cabin.
say, if you're gonna say
Last
something,
survivor,
say,
Enrico
no
Gianni,
comments.
was found with a broken leg. He was the cabin's service director. In the
Alright,
end,
well, at
32
least
people
those,
died.
they didn't
The
die.
final body wasn't discovered
32
until
people
nearly
died.
3 years later. A crew member, Russell Rebello, and it's believed that he died a hero helping passengers off the ship.
I mean,
The
I'm
Costa
sure it's
Concordia
fun
was the
to
largest
believe that
cruise
that's
ship
the case,
disaster
probably.
since the Titanic.
You always want to think
And then there's
about
the ship.
that
This
the
is
people
what
who died
happens
were
to a
good, but who knows if that's the
110,000-ton
case.
cruise liner when it's left half rolled over in the ocean.
I mean, doesn't look that, but then again, how it wasn't that long in the ocean. I mean, the mattress is still there. Hasn't disintegrated completely. Like the power of salt.
But this isn't the end. It's just the halfway point. What most people know is that the Costa Concordia had crashed, nearly
Yeah.
dead, and that the captain abandoned ship like a coward. But there's a whole...
Well, I didn't know that. The only thing I knew
Let's
was
dive
about the actual crash.
they are. The deets.
Alright, now we're going more into the details of what actually happened. Or why things... Well... Okay, so it's the details of what happened after the actual crash.
The Costa Concordia
I thought we were
was
gonna go
just a
more
flight
into
resort.
hyper...
It was all. The casino,
things.
This iron chest was
Like,
full of
now
safes
we've
and
done
cash
like the
registers
overall
and expensive
story, and now we're
fittings.
gonna go
And there
into
were
the
plenty of evidence
details
prepared
of
to
those.
sneak by authorities
But no, it's more
and
like
try
the
their
details
luck
what happened
in the hot zone.
after.
Within days, police divers reported that valuable items, once seen lying around the ship, were now missing.
Oh, that's the captain's socks. That's why he wanted to buy new ones.
Cash from the casino, cash registers, jewelry and display cabinets, safes, Japanese woodblock prints by famous 18th century artists.
I mean, I think this makes sense, you know.
The ship.
You're just gonna get destroyed by the ocean anyways.
Steals a big fuck
Go
off,
down
pal.
there,
Even
it's
the server
loot now.
admins were getting involved. 4 divers who were part of the company contracted to refloat the Concordia were spotted on CCTV, sneaking out to the ship.
So yeah, because we're not getting paid enough.
Caught inside the fancy suites with rucksacks full of stolen goods. The 4 men are charged with stealing and thieving. and pension. Later on,
Alright.
stolen as well as legitimate
Well, at
items
least
found their way to
200
Amazon
euro
eBay.
fine
Ships
and
from the
4 to
casino,
6 months.
postcards, and cabin
Should
access
they have gone
cards
to
became
prison?
highly sought after
I don't
souvenirs.
know.
It even has a watermark.
Maybe they
Some
should
Australian
just
guy
have
even
community
made a listing for the
service or
ship
something.
itself, advertising it as buyer to collect. And although there were plenty of bidders, eBay pulled the plug.
Like, oh, damn. Maybe because it wasn't his to sell.
I know you want to see Scatino go to jail, and we'll get to that. But first, we have to talk about someone else. Dominika Samorton.
That was a close one.
Oh yeah, like,
Speculation
I
that she was on
mean...
the bridge that evening because she was the captain's mistress.
Ooh.
Intense media speculation reports that her presence distracted
Oh, is
the
it?
captain.
They both denied their love for years and maintained that they were just friends.
It's gonna be
Although
that
did
she
later
was
admit to
there
media that she found him
and
handsome.
are they gonna try and blame her that, oh,
Precious. When you
she kept him
She says there's
distracted?
no romantic link between them.
I mean...
would like to believe. They want to know I have something with him. It's more interesting. It's like, you know, some spicy in the story.
Miss Samorton also
Spicy.
loved the spotlight, however,
Everyone, oh look!
and took several interviews. But as the pressure mounted upon her, she began making ominous threats to Scatino, saying he must confess, and that you have but 1 week to come clean. But things from here get weird.
Spicy.
Samorton is a bit of a wild card. In a subsequent interview, she claimed a helicopter came to the ship well before the other rescue craft to
Alright.
take away a package. Huh? And what was that package? Drugs, apparently.
Okay.
So rumors began that the ship was running narcotics for the mafia. And
I
not
mean,
without
that is
cause, a number
common.
of cruise ships, even recently, have been caught trafficking drugs.
Yeah.
As an aside, Scatino was tested
that
for
is
drugs
actually
immediately
pretty
after the crash.
common.
He tested negative for drugs in his system, but trace amounts of cocaine
But I don't think
were
it would
found
make
in
sense for
his
them to then just send in a fucking helicopter to
Nonetheless, the
pick
Concordia
up
was searched and no drugs
a small
were
amount of drugs.
found. How did we get here? Oh, right, a helicopter. Samorton commented on it again the next day and said,
Did that person
"Actually,
die?
that helicopter
I've
was just for
seen
the
that
captain
clip
as
of
a
the
means of
person just
evacuation from the
spinning
ship."
around like that.
Okay, wait.
I wonder if they
she
died,
attempted to
because
get some sort of
obviously,
rescue while
if they
everyone else
need
was still stuck on the ship.
a helicopter
Oh, right, sex with the captain.
to
Divers
save
were
them,
quick to
they
head to
are
the captain's
probably
cabin, where they found
very
Miss
injured.
Samorton's lingerie and other articles of clothing
Ooh.
as well as a makeup bag.
Coconut
The
underwear,
joke
huh?
was up, but they continued denying it. Samorton mostly faded from international attention until she was told to appear before the court to present witness testimony. The judge
Alright.
forced her to be truthful about their relationship, or she would be held in contempt.
Either tell me the truth or shut up.
So finally, she admitted it.
So I assume this was the court against the captain
Stop.
to try and
But
figure
no,
out,
stop
well,
asking
why
about
did
my
this
private
happen?
life.
She was indeed the captain's lover.
What is up, Trouble Nation? Scatino cheated.
Why do I recognize this guy as well?
Oh my god!
And I like that
Scatino had
editing.
been having an affair for several weeks. She also said that on the night she boarded, she didn't have a ticket and didn't need to pay because nobody questions you. When
So
you're
obviously he
captain's
didn't
lover.
actually talk about this.
Naturally, she gave another confusing interview after leaving court.
I want to say that today is the second time I die because the first time I died in the night of the crash with my psychological brain and problems. And today I died the second time because, of course, people find out something that I try to hide.
Subsequent to the trial, she used
He's like,
to
yeah, I'm
become
embarrassed,
a
alright, I
political
died from
activist,
second-hand
often
embarrassment.
appearing
Well,
on
first-hand
television,
embarrassment, I
radio, and
guess.
articles covering protests, accompanied by pictures of her being arrested by police.
You complain there aren't enough bins in the area, the police are blah blah blah. Okay. He's like, come on, and then just like, why are you just throwing this shit on the ground? There's a bin over there, you stupid
There was some
bitch.
stuff about victims of violence, women's rights, yada yada yada. And interestingly, part of a push to block the sale of shares of Moldova's train network to Russia. Other than that, I don't really know what she's been up to. Let me just
I mean, that's a
get
good
on my
thing.
list. Oh God, not again.
Shouldn't be owned by other countries.
Several civil suits were quickly lodged against Costa Crociere, and their parent company,
Makes
Carnival
sense.
Cruises, immediately saw a share drop of 23%. Passengers sought compensation
Oh,
for their
fuck,
damage
one
mental
of those
health, lost
guys.
belongings, and
I know those are two brothers, right?
him to divert from his course, or they didn't know
The Bogdanovs, I
billion-dollar
think.
ship was.
Within a few days, facing financial
No,
immunity,
yeah, it's not a billion-dollar ship.
attempted to join the bandwagon against the
Well,
captain and
maybe
crew.
with all the other assets on the ship, maybe it was a billion.
Was taking at the time and was not only taking, but the time the ship was
claiming that the ship was
It's
not
like,
approved to
it's
deviate
not
from
our
the
fault.
But that wasn't true. Approval isn't required if the ship is deviating by less than
Which,
15 miles. Or
to
that
be
it was against
fair, it's
company
kinda like,
rules.
well,
Also untrue.
is
because
it their
investigators
fault? I
found
mean, can
that
they
she didn't have any rules
control
about deviating route, and they
the
tacitly
workers from
encouraged
doing
sail by
stupid shit like
saloons.
that?
Now, in response to the civil suits, Costa Crociere offered passengers 11,000 euros each as
Oh
compensation.
god, no. Fuck off.
That's kind of small.
11,000 euros, about $14,000,
Probably
is the minimum
doesn't
compensation
pay
under international law.
what they
when a
even
ship is
spent on this
This was
shit.
to reimburse them for their tickets, as
Yeah,
well as
with
the
everything
costs
they
incurred
lost.
in having to unexpectedly travel home early.
And that was supposed to release them from everything and anything that has to do with this accident. I cannot ask for more than this.
A lot of passengers, understandably, were not too happy
You
with this
can.
deal, and they
Through the
refused to
legal
take the
system,
money.
just
We think the offer is an insult.
go
For
fuck
what these poor
yourself.
passengers went through, we think that the compensation being offered is not commensurate.
I agree.
Compensation being offered is not commensurate.
Later,
I wonder how many
Crociere
passengers there were.
lodged
Like,
Tuscany
could you done like,
to pay a €1 million fine to avoid a criminal trial. For just 3
I mean, it is
Costa
Italy,
Crociere
so
is now off the hook
yeah.
for all criminal liability for the whole thing. They washed their hands of the incident and flecked the residual droplets of responsibility onto the faces of 6 staff.
Is it specifically like?
of the dead
I mean, stuff like that happens all the time in
obviously
Italy. Like,
responsibility.
Offered is not commensurate.
especially in the south, it's like hyper corrupt.
The
But
residents of the island of Giglio also
I
managed
wonder
to
if
sort damages. They didn't get much.
I mean, it makes sense if they were
Eventually,
fishermen and
passengers
stuff
who
like
refused
that.
The initial compensation of 11,000 joined
Their
Silver
business
against
is
Catino
basically
in his
dead
trial in 2015.
over the years where
They
that
were awarded
all this
30,000 euros
happens.
each. Other cases, especially those involving lost relatives, are settled for undisclosed amounts.
So those probably got like a million, if not more.
To Budapest to represent 6
That was
real
probably in the
survivors
millions,
of
right?
disaster.
At Rene and Rene, we personally work on every case.
And we'll work harder than anyone to get you the most money possible in the shortest amount of time.
And while on the job, a 7th case cropped up via email. An elderly woman, a loner, said,
"Help me, Mr. Ronai, for I have lost my
All right.
daughter, Eva, and my 5-year-old granddaughter, Roxana."
So Mr. Renai agreed to speak with her. However, there were some inconsistencies in her story. Neither Eva nor Roxana were on the passenger list.
It's gonna be someone trying to
Her cargo is
scam.
known for having stowaways. Gotcha, bitch! Still, Mr. Renai was suspicious. They wouldn't cheaty old Petey, would they? Renai inquired further about
They
what she was on
would.
board, especially without a ticket. Ilona said,
"Well, I don't know, but you should ask her boyfriend.
Zolt Horvath.
He'll know all the details."
I'm up all night. I'm
I
going crazy.
assume this
But
is
Mr. Renai was still
Bulgaria?
suspicious, because then she asked, how
Or
much
like
money do you think this is
Romania,
worth?
one of those countries.
This is a huge red flag, Petey. In 20 years of doing this, you've never had anyone ask about money. Why now?
Okay.
So Mr. Renai hired an investigator.
Maybe don't
and
ask
sent
it,
photos
but
around
I'm
of the
sure
missing girl. The
people
next day,
think it.
the phone rang. Oh, hoi, hoi. It was the boyfriend again. Look, there's been a bit of a misunderstanding, and the child isn't missing at all. Uh-huh. And then he claimed he was
Well-
confused because he had done too many drugs the night before.
Alright.
Okay, can I speak to the daughter then? At first, he was refused. So Renai said that he'd have to file a missing persons report to the police if he couldn't. The boyfriend relented.
Alright, I mean, I like this Renai character, but I don't really see how this
He
really
speaks
has to
the
do
grandmother
with
and asks her if she's seen Mum.
because of
Renai said,
Concordia,
"What
so we're gonna have to wait and
Oh,
see.
really? Yeah, we went to the park today.
Like,
and we
alright,
went
someone
on
tried to
swings.
scam.
Oh no, the jig was up. So the mum walks into the room sheepishly. It's a miracle. And the story changed again. Okay, I'm not dead, but I did injure my leg when I jumped from the ship. And then I
don't believe
immediately
you.
flew back to Budapest. Although don't worry about checking my leg.
Yeah,
because there are
Budapest,
no visible
so
marks or injuries.
Bulgaria.
Oh, Petey, I'm beginning to think they weren't even on the boat. Also, it turns out this lady isn't her mum, it's just a neighbor. Eventually, Renee managed to make the
No,
man
wait,
invest.
is that a
But
Romanian?
Renee said,
Oh,
"Hey, we
Jesus
haven't done
Christ.
anything wrong. We haven't taken any money. And in the end, it looks like there'll be no criminal punishment for the scam because Hungary.
Hungary,
There's no laws
Jesus
against insurance
Christ.
fraud on the books.
The law firm that never sleeps, call 1-800-6647.
Oh, that's a bad idea. Oh, that's a very bad idea.
Idiots. You're gonna do that, at least make sure there's no other people on the fucking escalator. So you don't hurt them. If you want to do that and there's no one on the escalator, I say go ahead.
Get back on board for fuck's
Because
sake.
I mean, I think it's just your life in danger.
Gregorio
Don't put
Develop,
other people.
The naval officer who shouted at Scatino to Vada a bordo caso became a bit of a national hero overnight in Italy. He,
All right.
like the rest of the world, expected Scatino to go down with the ship.
I mean, no. I don't think so, but I mean, he should have stayed, help
when the
people,
captain
and
checked
then
out,
get off.
DeFalco was there to admonish him. And when he stopped answering the radio, he called him on his cell phone to continue putting him on blast. When the captain first reported just a blackout, DeFalco didn't believe the story and immediately began preparing a rescue effort, which likely saved several lives. His actions were applauded by most Italians who were tired of their public servants being corrupt and avoiding responsibility. Accordingly, shirts sporting Vada a bordo caso.
Oh, is this...
printed by the
Okay, so I
Italian,
assume
others
this is
setting
how
out
he
some
got
ringtone.
his...
But then, in September 2014, without warning, DeFalco was transferred to an admin role in the Coast Guard.
Quality politics. Okay, so
DeFalco
he
said that he had been passed up for
demoted
promotion, that he had also not
2
been told
years
what
after.
admin office he was even being transferred to, and that it all effectively cancelled 10 years of his career. DeFalco was tres furioso, and there was public speculation that it was owing to bad blood.
Yeah, like, yeah, you're doing too good, you're getting too popular.
His status among the
Let's
public
push you
overshadowed his
down and not
superior
tell you
in many ways.
anything.
On the other hand, his boss said, no, it's part of a normal career progression for naval
I
officers. and that he
mean,
must show
like I
more
said,
maturity
it's
and
hyper
professionalism
corrupt.
to advance his career.
So
Now, it's hard to know what's true in office politics, so let's leave that alone. And anyway, in 2018, DeFalco said, "Buenas noches."
I mean, I
later
don't
to the
think
Italian
office
Navy to
politics
become
are
a
that
politician. In
complicated.
March that year, he was elected to the Italian Senate, serving as a member.
It's
for
just
the
kind of like, oh, you're getting
Still
too
serves
popular.
today.
You might get in our way. Let's push you down. You're rocking the boat by being a bit too competent. Makes the others look bad.
The day after the disaster, Schettino was
So that
taken
is how
custody
he
by
got
police
into
and underwent
politics.
questioning. However, it was clear that this
Because
would
I
not
think
be a
what he has
straightforward
done is
investigation.
that
So the judge released him under house
think
arrest at his home in Sorrento,
he
a town in Napoli.
increased mother's
By July of
leave
that year,
like
the
2
house arrest
weeks or
was relaxed and he
something?
was allowed within the
Or like
Spindler
increased the pay for mother's leave?
While under house arrest, he wrote a book with this journalist
I
from Rye
think.
magazine. I have no idea what it says. I don't speak Italian. But goddamn,
Or maternal
some
leave,
kind
I
of charisma
guess.
going on because there's been a lot of speculation.
Should have
that
done
he
it
had an affair with her.
like
as well. Hold on, I got it.
What's it
Not
called?
content with abandoning his ship, this dude is determined
Maternal
to abandon
and
his wife
paternal
as well.
leave should have been
So,
increased.
Schettino and 5
I
others
think
are facing
it
criminal
was
charges.
just
Straight away, everyone
maternal
lodges a plea
leave.
bargain
I don't
with
even know. Does
and all
Italy
of
even
those
have
plea
paternal
bargains are
leave? I don't know.
Except for Schettino's. And the condition of
Because I think
everyone's
like I hear in
reduced
Sweden
sentences
where
are
it
that they
is
must
pretty
provide
good for
witness
everyone.
testimony against Schettino.
So I'm
He
kind of
touched
like,
me.
is that how it
Ciro
is
Jacob
in
and
other
Silvio Orlando
countries?
suspended sentences.
I don't think
Roberto
so.
and
The other
Enrico
countries are
able to
probably
opt for
way
community service
more
or house arrest. Not a bad deal. Good deal.
less
And that meant that Schettino
egalitarian
was
with
now
that stuff.
all on his own. Ciro, the first officer, was the first to give his testimony. On the witness stand,
They're kind of like, you know what, if you don't want to go to jail
and other guests on
or
the
be punished for the shit that you did, or you want to get reduced sentences,
confusion over who was in command.
let's
Then
get
it was
this
Jacob's turn.
guy,
And he said, Lamau
use
XD,
him as
because
a
he didn't actually bother
scapegoat.
with his testimony or his reduced sentence. He just fled the country. It took authorities 12 months to eventually track him down on the outskirts of Jakarta. And when they said, "Oi, we still want that witness testimony,"
Said, "Oh, fuck
he just
you."
scalped again. And he hasn't been found since.
Good.
After that, Ferrarini gave his testimony, then
I
we
mean,
don't have time to
maybe
relook at the whole trial. So let's just go straight to
that
the
guy
verdict.
played a
Guilty.
huge part
Schettino was found
in,
guilty
well,
of
obviously he was
multiple
the
causing a
helpsman.
shipwreck, abandoning ship, and lying to authorities. He is sentenced to 16
So I mean, he
years
should have
and
been
1 month
punished.
in prison.
I think all of them should be punished.
But wait, there's still the appeals. The appeals trial begins.
Oh yeah,
And the
16
verdict
years. I
on the
mean,
appeal-
people did die.
Surprise!
Makes
Rejected.
sense.
So Schettino's lawyers appealed again. And the verdict on the final appeal...
Schettino made multiple
Because it
attempts
is
to appeal,
gross
but was denied by the
incompetence. Is that what it's called? Gross
prosecution called for
incompetence?
Schettino to be sentenced to
Or
26 years in
competence
prison,
where
calling
people
the incident a
died?
Titanic affair.
I don't think it should be as much as
His lawyer stated
murder.
he was waiting outside of the jail for the
I think
ruling, so that
16
if his
years.
plea was
That
rejected, he
sounds
would immediately
fine.
start serving his sentence.
I mean, it is a
And with that,
fucking long
5
time.
years and 4 months after the disaster, he was finally in a cell.
Alright, so 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 his sentence was in like 2017 is when he got put into jail.
The salvage operation was enormous. It took over 2 years and cost an estimated $1.2 billion.
So I
Originally
wonder
in
if
2012, they first spent 2 months fuel from the ship's
so
tanks.
16,
At
will
some
he have
point, they had to
11
pump
years?
seawater in so that the balance wasn't affected and the ship
From
didn't slide around.
2017,
In early 2013, a platform was built
so
under
he
the
will
ship
be
to
out in
prevent it from falling
20.
further. Sponsons were then attached to the sides of the ship. and cables
Let's see,
attached to the underwater platform.
2017
The sponsons
plus
were then dragged
60,
in water and opened up to allow the ocean to
2033.
develop. The ship could then roll over properly. By late 2013,
If he's even
the
alive
ship was
by
upright
then.
once more. The sponsons were then attached to the side of the ship to help keep it balanced. It now rested partially above water and crews could walk around safely. By July 2014,
Yeah.
the water was removed from the sponsons and compressed
I
air
kinda
was
like
pumped in to lift the ship.
Send it to some
And she was ready to cruise again. This time to a port
Southeast
in Germany.
Asian
It was a
country for them
4-week
to
towing
make
journey
it
to the docks
scrap.
where a 2-year process of
Because I know
dismantling
that's
and recycling
very
would begin.
common with these
That same
huge
weekend of the
ships.
towing, Schettino was busy. He was the guest
But I
of
think
honor at a
those
white
that go
party on an island in
there
the Bay of
specifically
Naples.
are the ones
He
that
appeared on
aren't
the front page of a
damaged,
local
to be
newspaper,
fair. They're
flanked
like
by 2 of
old.
Italy's most eligible bachelorettes.
And that was obviously before he got his sentence.
Anyway, so these are the things that I remember from the Costa Concordia. That sweet maiden of the sea.
Alright.
And as for you, little fella.
I will say this was very
It's time
fast.
to return you.
Wait a minute. This is 46 seconds, but recording says 39. Oh, okay. That's why it's faster. I have it at increased playback
You didn't
speed.
see it because it was temporarily restricted. Now it's not. Enjoy. 3. If you've never seen the second channel before, give it a go. It's a different type of content. but we
Okay,
put a lot of
I
production in.
didn't
It's
notice
not
that.
4. There are
Okay,
secret channels as well.
that's
that
why
I'm
it
telling
was
you about
very
now.
fast. I was gonna be like,
No
it's a
more
bit,
45
a little bit
videos on the main
too
channel.
fast, but that was my fault. Don't even remember what I watched before this. I think I was listening to a podcast actually. So yeah, I mean, it was okay. I mean, I learned a lot that I didn't know about this. I mean, obviously, the only thing I really knew about was the crash. But I do think the segment after the crash, when we go into the deets, I think, okay, the thing about the divers, that's fine. I didn't care at all about this right here. I thought it would play when he went in on this, that, she and the captain were fucking. I thought it was gonna actually play a part later on or matter or anything. It didn't, so I'm kind of like, oh, okay. They had sex. Who cares? But I assume maybe that was like a huge deal because she was so willing to basically do so many interviews. So maybe that's why they even plays a part in this. Because she wanted the attention, I guess. So she went and did all these interviews. Because, I mean, I assumed it had nothing to do with the actual crash. Doesn't seem like it. It was just them being complacent. I think the biggest reason for the crash is the fact that they didn't... what's called... Yeah, the complacency of a procedure. They didn't double check their coordinates and all that. That is the actual reason for the crash, right? So I think that is on all of them. Obviously, I think the captain is still... You can put the most blame on him because, I mean, he is the captain. But, I mean, I wouldn't really say that justice has been served. Because, I mean, first of all, they paid $1 million. I mean, but then again, should Costa Concordia, the actual company, be put under criminal charges? You know, like, I don't know. I don't think so. Because, like, let's say, like a bakery, they hire someone to work there, and then the person who works there, like, picks up one of the knives that they use to bake their cookies and just stabs someone. Is it the bakery's fault? Probably not. So I can kind of understand that if it was just specifically for like the criminal charges, and it isn't, they didn't pay like $1 million to get out of all of the civil stuff, which doesn't seem to have been the case. But I don't know, like, I was a bit confused there. And then also this whole part with Ronai, I don't know why that was even in this. Doesn't really have... Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is a little bit of a fun story of someone trying to... So that's probably the reason. Of someone trying to scam, getting caught, and then, well, there's no such thing as insurance fraud in Hungary, so it's just a little bit of like a fun story. But other than that, that's my opinion. It was an okay video. But I think the subject is something I don't really care for. Like, alright, a ship crashed.